So I went to him because before that I was studying, and I was thinking I cannot continue studying or do anything in life unless I know who I am. And I don't know who I am. And I need to find out first. And I used to have, as a teenager, a little book of prayers. And the title was, Who Am I, God? So I felt I needed to know that first before I can continue life. Or what is the use of life? So I went to this devotee because I thought he has something to do with India. And I thought if I go to India, maybe that's where I find out who I am. And I asked him what he was doing, and he gave me a magazine, Back to Godhead magazine. And on that magazine, as he gave it to me, was exactly the same poster I had in my room. And in that moment, a big light went on inside my heart, a very bright light. And I felt, I have found it. I have found what I'm looking for. I don't know exactly what it is, but I feel in my heart, this is it. And then I asked him, do you have anything else? And he gave me a small book on the way to Krishna.
You can hold on, right?
He gave me a small book on the way to Krishna. So I felt very, very happy at that moment. Happiness I didn't feel ever before. It was from within coming out. So I went back to my student flat, stayed of night, read the whole book and the magazine. And as I was looking through the magazine, I could see a Gurukul teacher with the kids, and I thought, oh, I would like to do that. And I saw a truck, a Sankirtan truck with books, and I thought, I would like to do that. The next day I wrote a letter to the address in the back. I don't know if it was what it was. And I told them that I'm very attracted to the philosophy. It's just the absolute truth, what I felt. And that I don't want just to read the philosophy, but I want to live the philosophy. So then they sent me a letter back saying I could come. A few days later, I gave up school, packed up my bags, took a tiny little suitcase, and I left to the temple. I was living in Belgium, and this was in Amsterdam. And so I got there. They were not really expecting me, and that's how I started in the temple for 10 years. I stayed. A few months, about half a year later, we went to see Srila Prabhupada and friends. Many devotees from all over Europe were coming together. And that was the very first time. And that's when Srila Prabhupada gave me Harinam. I only saw him, he was there just for that day, he got the Harinam. I was very young. And as he was leaving, I was running after his car. And then the car sped up, and so left all the dust on my face. And then I fell flat, gave him my obeisances. And even though I saw Srila Prabhupada just for that one day, never spoke to him. And at the moment he left, I felt a very, very big feeling of separation. But little did I know that was the last time. A year later, Srila Prabhupada left his body. So life continued. The struggles, the tribulations, about 19 years later, I woke up one morning and I felt very strongly that I wanted to see Srila Prabhupada, because I didn't have the physical association. I didn't speak to him. He gave me my beads, but I felt I needed more. So I prayed to him and I said, I know you're all powerful and you're a magician, you can do whatever you want. Can you please appear in my room just for a moment so I can hear your voice and I can speak to you. And it was a very strong feeling. I waited. But then a few months later, the front door opened and Srila Narayan Maharaj walked into my house for the first time. And as soon as he walked in, I knew that Srila Prabhupada did hear my prayer and that he came in the form of Srila Narayan Maharaj. So immediately there was a connection between me and Srila Narayan Maharaj. And so Srila Prabhupada came and left. Srila Narayan Maharaj came and also left. Srila Prabhupada gave the baton to Srila Narayan Maharaj to continue to help us. And then Srila Narayan Maharaj gave the baton to you to continue to help us on the path to Radharani. So I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful that somehow, as you're all passing on the baton and walking, I got stuck like a piece of dust under the feet. And I pray that I may remain in the corner of your feet now, because you're here. Because you're representing Srila Narayan Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada was representing Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. So that's just what I feel. I'm very grateful, and I hope that you can keep me at your feet throughout life.
Okay. Thank you. Jai Pandita Ji. Shyamdas Prabhu.
Subject?
Huh?
Subject?
Hey?
What subject?
Yeah?
Can you show me?
Prabhupada? প্রভুপাদের বিষয়ে
Mukhaṁ karoti vācālaṁ pangum lankayate girim yatkripātamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinitārine. I offer my obeisances limitless times to the Lord's feet of my Divine Master, Intelligent Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, and to Srila Bhakti Srila Maharaj, and unto all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. So I met the devotees in 1992 in my hometown in Aylesbury. It was about 40 miles northwest from here. And I was hanging about outside McDonald's, as young people do, age 21, and one of the kids said, "Oh look, there's a Hari-Krishna at York, we're going to talk to him." So I said, "Okay." So I went and spoke to this brahmachari in full saffron cloth, and his name was Actually, his name at the time was back to Andy. Now he's called Adi Guru. He was my Adi Guru.
Okay.
So,
Adigu.
so he showed me the book and he started talking. He said it's in Sanskrit, and I said, "Oh, Sanskrit, that's interesting." I said, "My Latin teacher at school showed me a Sanskrit book, and it looked really interesting and really difficult." So, and he said, oh, so he flattered me. He said, "Oh, you're a scholar." Someone knows who I am.
Someone knows who you are.
So this book was Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Part 1. You know the blue, light blue with the planets in the universe. So I didn't have very much money. I just said, "Look, that's all I've got, you can have." And he said, "That's okay." He said, "Someone else gave a big donation, so yours is covered. If you're interested, so take it." So I took this book and I went home, and I've been reading Buddhist books, Tibetan Buddhist books, and also I've been reading the Bible. For a month I was reading every day Bible and praying. "My dear Lord, please show me what you would have me do as I read your book, and please give me the desire to live according to your teachings." So every day I was praying like this and then reading Bible. For 1 month, and then I got this Bhagavatam. So I read the introduction, Prabhupada's introduction to Srimad Bhagavatam. And I remember reading all these big long names. Raghunath Das Goswami, all these long Indian names. I'm thinking, why am I reading all these long Indian names? What am I going to get from that? Not realizing the name of devotee is even more powerful than the name of Krishna. And also in the end of this introduction, there's the Shikshashtakam translated into English. And Srimati Radharani gives the blessing in the end of the final chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Anyone who recites this Shikshashtakam, his devotion will increase day by day. So then I did a meditation. I didn't chant the Hare Krishna mantra, I wasn't quite ready, but I did one meditation from the Buddhist book that I already knew. And I had a very profound experience. See, I was raised an atheist. When I went to Christian school when I was 5, and we used to sing hymns, "All things bright and beautiful." And I came home and I said to my mum, "Who's Jesus?" And she said, "He was just an ordinary man. It's all rubbish for people with weak minds. You're not allowed to believe in it." So, okay, that was my, until I was about 18, I started to think to myself. That's how I thought, So, where was I? I lost my.
Your mom was there.
Oh, so I did this meditation. So I'm sitting doing this meditation, and I had a very profound experience. I was bathed in saffron light, and I was no longer, I was merged in this light. I didn't have an individual identity. And also, there was a very strong sensation of no suffering at all.
Yeah.
And also I realized I'm not this body. I'm soul. I exist eternally. And I don't have to eat or drink or even breathe to exist. I exist. And it was very nice, very pleasant. And this remained for some time, and then I started to come to, and I was sort of half in conscious, half not, And my mother came in, and I'd also drooled all that night. She came in and she said, "Oh, do you want some lunch?" And I just looked at her and said, "Why?" Why? Anyway, so this was a profound experience. Yeah, I realised that. Didn't just think it, I knew it, So a very, very profound experience just from this. And then I also started thinking, I'm killing animals, I'm causing suffering, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm drinking and smoking and taking pills and going to parties and all these things. I'm not going to do that anymore, I'm chasing girls, I'm not going to do that anymore. So I quit all those things that day, And then there was one devotee in the town, and his name was Michael. His name's Madai.
Madai.
He lives in Wales.
One is Adhiguru, one is Madai.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
So then I went to his house and I made some sandwiches, like cheese and salad sandwiches, and to say to him, "Please show me how you offer food." And so he said, "Okay," and he had the altar. He said, "You have a picture of Guru, Prabhupada, and Mahaprabhu, and Krishna, and put the food, and you pay your obeisances, and you say, 'Dear Krishna, please, my dear Lord Krishna, please accept this humble offering, and then you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. So it made it very easy for me, you know. So after that, I started offering my food. And then he said, do you want to come to the temple? So I said, okay. So he took me to Bhaktivedanta Manor. It was about 20 miles away. And they said, do you want to stay the night? And I was like, oh, am I joining a cult? No. And he said, no, don't worry, you can hitchhike home tomorrow, you know, because he'd driven me there, so I had to come back, you know. So I you know, I went and I saw the deities there explaining. I completely bewildered and anything. When I saw the Sringadev next to the altar, I was like, what the hell's that? You know, ripping up here and I'm covered in blood. What's that? Oh, don't worry about that. This is Krishna. This is Radha. They were very clever, actually. They were good preachers. So I stayed the night and I was very excited. I woke up at 3 in the morning and I went to Mangalarti. And that was it. I was just charmed. It was so beautiful. You know, maybe 100 devotees, men on one side, ladies on the other side, and just all doing the Swami step in unison. And the light was very low, and this beautiful altar with all golden cover canopy, and the deities very beautiful in their night clothes. And I was completely and singing in Sanskrit, Samsara Dhavanala. Very beautiful. I was charmed. And then the japa time came. They gave me a string of beads. They said, okay, you walk around that tree clockwise. And when you're tired of walking, you sit down. And when you're tired of sitting down, then you keep walking. And you just keep chanting. Oh, okay. So, you know, maybe 8 rounds maybe. And then after that, I started chanting 4 rounds every day. And I remember going to work was always very boring, like sitting on the train or the bus or whatever, looking out the window bored, like what am I doing? And but chanting was very nice, you know. This journey now is very, very nice. So I visited a few more times, and then came Gaur Pranim. I went and stayed for a week, and the last day was Gaur Pranim. And the day after I came back, Jagannath Mishra Mahotsav, I came home, and the first thing my mother said to me when I came in the door was, "Could you feed the dog, please?" So after being like a week in this temple with all wooden panels and paintings and incense burning and monks chanting, I come back to dog food, you know. And I'm just like, this is so repulsive, so revolting, and I just was like, I can't do this anymore. So I went upstairs, packed a bag, and I said, Mum, sorry, I can't do this anymore. I'm gonna go and live in the temple. And there was a gyro check in the door, like I must have signed on 2 days before. So I took that, I went to the temple and said, okay, this is all the money I have, take it and me as well. And they had a little 2-minute meeting and they said, okay. So I did back to program and first washing pots and then the back to program. I wasn't very good at washing pots. And then they made me the receptionist of the temple in the mornings because I like to talk to people and I used to do people tours, you know, pick up the phone and speak to people, etc. So after some time, I stayed 1 year in Bhaktivedanta Manor, and I went to France, stayed in New Mayapur and Germany, Heidelberg Temple, and I came home and got a job again. And then my colleague Sridham Saka, he was the evening receptionist, and I had been the morning receptionist. So he said, "Do you want to meet my guru? He's a pure devotee." And I'd met Gaur Govinda Maharaj as well a couple of times in France and England. And his glance, you know, one time he looks at you, I think that had the effect that you can get a pure devotee association. So, 1996, Sridham says, "Do you want to meet my guru? He's a pure devotee." I said, "Yeah, of course, I always want to meet a pure devotee." So he said, "Okay, I'll call you and tell you." So May came and he said, "Okay, he's here, come." So I went to Radlett, and it was a small flat, 2-story flat, 3-bedroom, and there were about 60 devotees in there. It was packed with devotees. And I was wearing a shirt that I had from my time in the Manor, Bhaktivedanta Institute, with a picture of Srila Prabhupada, and in Sanskrit it says, Atato Brahma Jigyasa. So Gurudev immediately picked on me, he said, "Oh, you, what is that, Atato Brahma Jigyasa?" So I said, "Now is the time to inquire about the absolute truth," because that was the translation that Prabhupada gave and I'd learned. And he said, he didn't say yes, no, or anything. He just said, I want that you should come to me and I will tell you what Bhaktivedanta. And I said, yes, Maharaj. And I felt very blessed, like humbled, gently chastised. And so that evening, Pundarik Brahmachari, I was reading one book of Gurudev's that Prem last published, Hari-katha. And Srila Gurudev was speaking about Govardhan. Why is Govardhan Haridasa Variha, the best of the servants of Lord Hari? Because he's providing all the grass for the cows from which the gopas all make their living, the milk and ghee and all. And because it provides all of the minerals that they can dye their cloth and paint, do their shringara and all these things. But also because he provides privacy for Radha and Krishna and the gopis to meet. So I'd never read anything like this before. Very high class, Hari-katha. And Pundarik came and said, what you're reading? And I read it, and he said, oh yes, he said, this is a Tato Brahma Jigyasa. So I was very amazed because Gurudev said, I will tell you, and he did, that same day. And not even himself, but through his agent, through his ling, his anga, of his brahmachari. And not only that, but Brahma Jigyas, my conception of Brahma Jigyas was, Vedanta Sutra and Shankaracharya and dry, boring, philosophical, very complicated and difficult. But his conception is Radha and Krishna dancing in Govardhan Hill. This is Brahma Jigyas. So I was very impressed. And I was working, I saved up the money and I went to India. And I went to Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan. And I had the money on my hip, £100, to go and sign up on their parikrama. And I met Prem Prayojan in the courtyard selling Gaur Govinda's books. And he said, if you want Krishna Prem, you must get from a Premi Bhakta. I said, yes, I know, I agree. I heard your Guru Maharaj say this and I accept it. But he also said, Sadhu doesn't speak theoretically. So who is a pure devotee? If I don't know who is a pure devotee, then that is of no use. So he said, all right, very good. He said, don't tell anyone, we're going to Mathura. And he took me to Gurudev's temple, Shri Gaudiya. And when I got there, everything's a little different. The songs are different, the spiritual is different, everything a little different. So I was thinking, I'm going to go back to ISKCON. And then, but they're all trying to persuade me. They're all saying, oh, but here you'll get such good sadhu sangha. Yeah, well, so, there's Lokanath Mata, I like Lokanath Mata. And, oh, but here you'll get such good Hari-katha. Oh, yeah, they also you get nice Hari-katha. And then they tried all these ways to persuade me, and finally it was, well, our parikrama is $100, theirs is £100. That was a material difference. I was on a limited budget, so I said, oh, okay. So I stayed. And then after 2 or 3 weeks, I got darshan with Gurudev, and I asked him a couple of questions, and he just said, why not taking Harinam? And I was like, and he said, you must chant regularly. If you want, I will give you. Tomorrow I will give, otherwise not. And he turned his back on me. I was like, and Madhav Raj was behind him, Naveen Krishna Brahmachari was behind him saying, say yes, say yes. So I said, okay. So then after a couple of days, in Nandagram, on Gopashtami, so in the place and at the time when Nanda Baba gave calves to Krishna first time, Gurudev very mercifully gave me Harinam. So I came in the room, Gurudev said, he looked up and he said, so you will be mine forever? And I was like, completely like no words. Madhav Raj behind him again, say yes, say yes. Okay. So he said, still fearing? And I said, yes, Gurudev. He said, don't fear. He said, be bold. I want you to be so pure and strong. And then he explained the mantra of Radha and Krishna, the headbeat, and these are the Ashtasaki, Lalita, Vishaka, Chitra, and all. And Hare Rama is not Dashrati Ram, not Rohini Nandan Ram. Hare Rama means Radha Rama. That's what he told me when he gave me. So then I did parikrama every year. He asked us all. So from 96 to 2012, nearly every year. The Bodhidharma Parikrama Association and Hari-katha Kirtan. So I'm very much grateful. I don't know how it came to be that someone rascal like me can get the association of so many pure devotees, but somehow or other, Guru and Krishna has caused this mercy. So I'm very grateful to be here. I'm very grateful to have been there. And on this auspicious day, I offer my humble and respectful obeisances to my Srila Gurudev and our Srila Prabhupada.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Krupa. Jai Samdas Prabhu. Hi, you? Yeah. Ah. Come front.
Have to switch off now for the